Hi everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. My name is Victoria Waco, and in this video I'm going to tell you a little bit more about me. So if you by any chance stumbled upon my last video, I'll link it down below. It really was just a plea asking for help in my mom's case. For those of you who are watching this video first, my mother passed away when I was 10 years old, and the circumstances around her death, all 22, almost 23 years later, are still unsolved. We have really no solid answers about what happened. And it has been a huge weight on my heart for a lot of my life, as you can imagine. And it has really, though, also been some of the fuel that has pushed me along in my life. And I wanted to share a little bit more about that because it has had such an impact on my life, both positively and negatively. Obviously, in the negative sense of mourning, and no one imagines at the age of 10 that their family is going to receive a call saying that their mother is dead, and no one knows why, and no one knows what happened, right? That's just not something anyone ever imagined. And for the longest time in my life, I was ashamed. I was ashamed of what happened. I was ashamed of my childhood and a lot of the situations that happened in my childhood, and I just didn't want to tell anyone about any of it. And I always felt like it was hanging over my head, right? Me and my mom have the same last name. I'm married now, but at the time my last name was Ripple. My mom's name was Ann Ripple, and I always felt like people knew. And I grew up in a small town and was grateful for the support and love of my friends who were there with me through it all. But I always felt like the person who was different in life. And going to college, I thought this was my time to be able to define myself outside of this tragedy, outside of being the daughter of a murder victim, outside of being the sister of a brother who was, death ultimately was related to gun violence, beyond being the kid with a learning disability, beyond being the kid whose, family had a lot of issues. And then something really strange happened. While I was in college, I started to volunteer and help run teen events in a ministry setting. And I kept being brought in front of these teens who were struggling with things in their life. And all I wanted to do was tell them, I get it. I 100% get it. I know what it feels like when you are so depressed or so ashamed of something that happened that you wish you could crawl under a rock and disappear. I get what it feels like to have something so huge happen in your life that you don't feel like you can go on, or you just feel like, how will I ever get through this? I get it. I've been there. I've dealt with those things, and I got through it. And I got through it because of really great people, and I got through it because I knew that ultimately it was my responsibility to live a good life and be a lasting legacy for these people who are not here anymore. And I've always felt very strongly about that my life and my success in life is the legacy that that my mom gets to have on this world through me. And so here I was trying to create this world outside of this, and I'm drawn to tell the story. And I started to realize that there are kids who need to hear this. And as a kid, I needed to hear that there were people who had gone before me who had gotten through it. And it became such a passion of mine that I started to talk a lot about specifically domestic violence. My mom was a victim of domestic violence. I do believe that it caused a lot of the situations around her that ultimately, I believe, again, we don't know any answers, that did lead to where she was and the people she was around that ultimately when her life ended. And because of that, because I have such strong feelings about that, and being a child who grew up in that situation, I know the statistic that those who grow up in it are more likely to either be victims themselves someday or to be a perpetrator of violence against someone. And that just became such a passion of mine to say, guess what? I lived through it. I lived through these horrible things and I chose this different path. And guess what? You can too. And more importantly, other kids need our voices to say, this happened to me too, and look at what I was still able to do. And that just became such a drive. And that's why I ultimately created my platforms, Annie's Victory. My name is Victoria, and my mom named me for victory. And I, like I said, am her victory in this world. I believe that. I believe I'm this living, breathing, walking legacy for her. And I want to not be the only one. I want there to be so many other parents that can have children who are never in a domestic violence situation, who are the voices and catalysts to help others realize how worthy they are and how important it is to find the strength to get out of those situations, not just for themselves, but for their children. From the voice of babes, as we like to say. I'm not a babe anymore, well, kind of, but I was a baby in those situations. I was a child in those situations, and this is what I wish I could have said, but I didn't have the voice then. So that is really why I started this whole thing. You can go to my website to learn more and also some ways you can help. Thank you so much for watching this. Again, please share the video. Please share my last video. It'll be linked down below. We are trying to get so many answers about what happened to my mom. And more importantly for me, I want to have this legacy to pass on. And I want to have an answer to pass on to my children someday. So I thank you again all for watching. If you, like I said, click below for more information. And please like, share, pass this video along so that we can start getting some more voices and some more activity around this issue and on finding victory for my mother. Have a great day.